What's going on, everyone? This is your man Ant, and welcome to the Crypto Fix. I'm here with a special guest in a special location. Justin Cheers,
What's going on here?
NAACP Vice President.
Yes.
Justin Cheers. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification button. You know, man, like I said, we try something different. At a location, usually at the office. You see the btminers, but we at a coffee shop. Coffee shop. Give the other people in the background, man. This is the vibe right now.
Right.
So, how you been, man?
I'm doing good. Staying busy, they constantly keep putting me on different things. Sitting on the board of directors for Citizen Action New York now, gearing up, sitting with NIPAN, working with NICES still. So all these different boards they keep putting on. I must be doing something good out here. So they keep putting me on these different boards, and then we're getting ready to run for New York State Assembly again in 2024. So
you running again?
I'm running again. I'm coming back.
All right, man. So, all right. I think I grabbed the wrong questions. So, crypto in the capital region. How do you see that benefit in the capital region right now?
I think it's huge for our capital region. I think that we have so many tech companies, especially out here in this area, from over in Mariahville over to Duane's, heading up to Saratoga County now for the capital district in its entirety. I think that it's a huge boom. We have some of the centralized top tech students coming out from nanotechnology right in Albany. This is an opportunity for them to continue to move their technological chops and hopefully benefit our area into what's new currency.
All right, so you said with all the new technological things happening with the colleges and stuff like that, you see crypto being a big boom in the capital region.
I do. I think it has the opportunity to be its own independent entity. I think it's going to be, as you're going to hear from some of my stats and data, it's a little bit more difficult for individuals, but with the right company, it is definitely a job booster for the area.
It's definitely a job booster. So, do you feel that the government is coming down too hard on crypto?
I think that they have come down the only way that they know how to at this point is try to regulate. I think that when you look at something like cryptocurrency, because it's not founded in anything as a purchase, so how we started off with our U.S. currency was founded in gold. Then as you look at world currency, it's now founded pretty much in oil at this point, where we constantly are seeing a transition where cryptocurrency is really founded about how much data you can mine pure electricity. So your electricity is really what you're going through. So when you look at the base formation of it, it's still down to petroleum, the main of what we're using. So I think that the U.S. government is definitely cracking down in a manner that they think is going to help boom them along from a tax set. Though if you're a large company, you can have multiple mining processes. You're going to find yourself in a very successful, thriving area.
All right. So what that means for the small people. So for guys like you and me, and other individuals that's watching, how can we, definitely in the state of New York, develop something better?
So for me, I'm always already pushing. I think I texted you this morning. The huge one is going to be Sharemine. So for your everyday person that's trying to mine a Bitcoin per day, it uses so much energy, over to between 1,000 and 1,200 watts of electricity to push through. That can add up for some areas, especially in apartments, to almost 30 days worth of electricity use. So that if you're just mining by yourself with ASCMs, it's going to be costly. But if we start to pull together, we're working in a central area, we're using an office space. These things, when you get a group of 5 or 10 people, all of a sudden you're sharing that cost and you mitigate that Bitcoin, right? We're still seeing that Bitcoin is holding around between 13,000, even on the low side is where they're estimating it for a full set coin. So there is profitability. It's going to be difficult for an individual unless you got it like that. I know I don't got it like that, because even the equipment itself can cost anywhere up to $11,000, if not more, and that's for secondhand. To get the ASCMs that you need, the incremental sync circuit managements that you need to download and mine properly. You want cooling spaces. You want to be thinking about different like government facilities that have the old computer monitors in here. Make sure that you have a location that is going to be able to keep your system cool, so you're not burning through an $11,000 circuit. On top of it is noisy. Mining in that process and running that computer nonstop is going to be noisy. It's going to be hot, so you're going to need an independent space for it.
All right. Do you feel that we can create a facility where we at right now, just the mine, this a hosted facility? I know the governor put the moratorium, 2-year moratorium until they got the information, until they put laws in place. But as right now, not trying to use no fossil fuel, things of that nature, can we put together? Can you see a hosted facility in this area?
Absolutely, I can see a hosting facility in this area. I mean, you look at the same as we're talking about, our new marijuana shops that are coming in here and regularization. Same thing is where you have these hosting shops and you have a hosting building that you can put this in. There's profitability in here. There is money to be pushed forward. And I once again, I'm going to lean on my share miners, the local, right? Your intermediate, not the large companies, because they don't care as much. But for share mining, I want every individual person to be able to lean a little bit on our governor when these moratoriums lift to make that an actual housing circuit. So this is something that is an investment for people. If you want this to be in New York State, you're going to need more than just big business to run it, because we know how it goes when big business just has everything in their pocket.
I think big business is going on quick and can. Big business, I don't know. It's hard to see big business get into this because the industry is such volatile, and you have to, as an investor, you have to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable,
right,
with the volatility and say, "Yo, I see something. I see this growing. I could take the hit."
So when I see big business for crypto, I see them as sub companies, right? I could see we'll use, for example, Exxon, right, gas company. I could see them having an umbrella underneath them that's a midgetated, that they can allow a sub company to run through them, where if they want to pull their money out anytime they can. But $2 million to an Exxon in an investment opportunity, even see if it works, is a drop in the bucket. That's like us buying coffee at the shop, right? So that they're not thinking about it in that way, where $2 million investment is could be 20 mil, or could be someone's gas for Schenectady for 2 days.
So you mentioned share mining. So you believe that a group of people where we are right now could come together with finding the right investor, or pulling any type of resources together to create a hosted facility?
Absolutely. I think you're going to look at it, and when we look at legislational points, I think that's going to be the best way to protect our small individuals with it, to make sure that they can, have the insurance policy as well, because it is such a toxic and volatile at times for business, where you don't know which way to go. So if we can ensure those in, I see New York State. I know it's not going to make a lot of people happy, but trying to regulatory how many people are mining, so you can keep the boom on it. And I think it's going to end up becoming a licensure, which I know we don't want to hear, but that's going to be the concept to make it the most beneficial. That's what I see. That's not how.
No, I understand. Crypto Can, that's what's up, man. We in Schenectady as well, man.
Yes.
Crypto Can, come through, man. We can sit down and talk.
Story coffee.
we can sit down and talk, man, and you could be a guest on the show. So, big business like Exxon saying, "Yo, all right, $2 million is nothing."
Right.
Us coming together as creating a mining facility. So the issue with the mining facility, and you touched on it before, is the noise and the heat.
Right.
And according to environmentalists, that's the issue to the environment.
Right.
To me, I mean, we in global warming. If I don't believe it, it's like what? It snowed 3 weeks ago. We got hit with a big snowstorm.
Right.
Now it's nice as you look outside and never tell it's snow.
Right.
So I think crypto is the low hanging fruit.
Yep.
You can just grab on and say, "Hey, we're going to pick on this," so really, because we can't get the major agenda going on.
Right.
So how do we get? I know a lot of people not going to like it. Okay, people feel like, the whole decentralized thing, there's no regulation, the volatility. How can we get the word out to people to say, "Hey, crypto is the future"?
So it's one, using our data, using our facts, and making sure that we are helping people understand how cryptocurrency can be used in the day-to-day life, right? I think that's going to be the boom for going forward, is making this currency not just a transferable from country to country, but making it almost like your Apple Pay. Making that Bitcoin accessible at Price Chopper when people are choosing to be paid in Bitcoin instead of, these are little things, and it is that low hanging fruit. But we want to make sure that everyone understands that when we're looking at an easier way of currency, this is it. We just came from a pandemic where we damn near stopped using cash altogether because we didn't want to exchange money or touch people anymore, right? These are things that are accessible to us that we can make a point of going, this is something that's factual, it's tangible. Now, how do we use it? Creating a bank system that allows us to deposit and maneuver the way we want to, transfer just that easily. That's going to be your push for legislation, that they feel that they have some kind of regulatory control to make it less volatile, make it less toxic, and this way they can save it. As we see right now, our federal government's bailing our banks out again for things that they for mishandling or whatever may occur as we switch over. There's no safety net for crypto. So if we can assure our legislators that we can build in a safety net that allows it to not just plummet. I think Dogecoin is the example that they love to use. It was there and then the balloon popped. And what happens when it happens? Right now at the moment, nothing. You have to regulatory like a stock. It's you look at it as a stock. So they want to be able to put a regulation on it to allow us to hold true so we can use it. But looking at it as everyday currency is going to be where we have our winning argument for how the use of crypto can be.
But you did mention everyday use. I don't know if people are going to start accepting their paycheck in crypto. I think some are doing that. That's the richest.
The richest of the rich, right.
Like local people, it's not there yet.
Right. And I think that's something that we look at too. I mean, where you look at something simple as entertainment, where you can transfer if you get, say, Rivers Casino in Schenectady to accept Bitcoin as a currency to bet. It's so simple, but it's a transferable currency where you get to keep your money and you can put as much as you want into it. That's something that can be regulated, right? How much money you're putting into the casino or whatever. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I definitely, that's an idea concept.
He said crypto can. The people that don't understand crypto need to be incentivized to use crypto in everyday use.
Right.
But I am starting to see a lot of Bitcoin ATMs, and there's some business accepting Bitcoin.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's small steps to get there. To get people to say, "Hey, let's get you into crypto. Let's buy you a few Bitcoin." So we get it gradually, not just stone in your face, but easy way.
But it's an ease through. It's just like any other currency, and that's I think that's also part of is wording. We have to make sure we keep saying cryptocurrency, because when you say Bitcoin, people automatically start thinking digital, and they get nervous, especially some people that don't fully understand how it works in the digital age. I look at the euro. When everyone started changing over, and you start looking at a major money in Europe that came across, this is people joining into a function of, okay, we're all going to use this as the overseeing dollar. You still have the rand, you still have the yen, you still have other countries that have their own independent currency, but the euro is the all over that goes through, right? And now the euro is building and pushing the US dollar regularly back and forth. So that's that is the same concept. It is a currency.
And there needs to be a main everyday use crypto like XRP. So XRP is Ripple, aka the government's coin. Right. If you want to believe that, throwing the 10 for your hat.
Right.
So, I mean, I like what you say. Use cryptocurrency instead of using Bitcoin.
Right.
But Bitcoin dictates the market.
Right. It is the largest upswing, right? And that's the hardest goal. We say, but I want to point people like, do you say Bank of America or do you just say the bank? And people know the difference in each branding after a while. You start to know that, Wells Fargo holds so much money and has so much inside the stock, or Goldman Sachs, same concept. Wall Street, we know what's in Wall Street. So when you start to get people more comfortable with the wording of it, we know who dictates. Like Wall Street dictates all of our stock, right? We know, even though there's no money technically there, right? There's more money in Fort Knox than there is on Wall Street, but in reality, Wall Street has more currency that comes through every regular basis, right? So those are the concepts.
All right, so change the language. Once the government greenlight crypto, then we can use it at the supermarket.
Right.
But do we need the government to green light it, or it takes that corporation to say, hey, we're going to start accepting it?
I think it's
All business.
when you're looking at these larger businesses, when you're looking at like a Walmart. I'm sorry, I was running from meeting to meeting. I've been touching my head because I was looking at my hairline for a second. I was like, oh man, I pushed my edge up back. But when we look at these larger businesses, a Walmart, a Target, they like that reinsurance, right? So just like we're incentivizing people when we're talking about for everyday use, you have to be able to incentivize these corporations to take that risk with you. And most of them want that insurance. They want that fallback. They want to know that if the boom burst, that the government's going to give them their money still. They're not holding on to a ton of extra Bitcoin or cryptocurrency that's not worth the same value. And unfortunately, the rich are more concerned about every penny than the people who have less that give it to make it day to day, right? They want that last dollar. If it changes, they're going to be upset. And that's where the government's looking at a lot of times when they're talking about regulatory processes.
The old heads won't move unless the government says. And that is true.
You said it in much better. I was trying to be politically correct. I told you I was running for assembly next year.
So you're telling the truth. Like the baby boomers. Right. You want to use the old head. The baby boomers need the government. And the government say, hey, to the baby boomers, hey, this is the safe way to go.
Right.
I think it will shift.
Right.
The dynamic will shift over to something major. Okay. Crypto is the next thing, even though millennial, Gen Z,
right,
and whatever things after Gen Z and stuff like that.
So this is, and that's the pushes with it. And I maybe if someone knows if you got new young millionaires that are coming into, and I mean this to say, I'm not being funny. If you have young millionaires that are up and coming business processes that know that they're on the verge and they're willing to accept it, it does begin to change the narrative for the next generation. The reality is, we're making a push, but still a lot of the baby boomers do hold most of that percentage of wealth. I say at least 10%, especially in New York State, dictate what occurs when it comes to the wealth distribution for businesses. So we're making the push, but we're not anywhere close. And I think the next gen after that is now 60 in their 50s and 60s coming through that just fall under that baby boomer range. But they're right there and they have the next wealth gap and they don't understand cryptocurrency yet. So we're still almost 2 generations away from people who are even trying to understand what's occurring or looking at this as a boon and not a hindrance.
But like I said, but crypto created so much millionaires within this these last almost 4 months.
Yeah,
it has created a bunch of new millionaires.
Right.
Within the 4-month time span.
They look at it as new money. And they, as my brother in Georgia would tell me that old money doesn't pay attention to new money because old money's figured a way to keep it forever.
Yes.
And new money's still playing with it and trying to figure it out. So like that old money is where we want to be focusing on getting that old money invested in what we're doing, or they see the future and they're like, okay, I want to make sure my grandkids are a part of this because we set up generational wealth. I'm not about to lose it in a moment. And that's when that $2 million investment from an Exxon or from a Walmart corporation or whatever changes the way that it maneuvers. When you get one, the rest will start to follow because they don't want to fall behind the competition. If they have the ability to invest, they will.
All these FTX and Duquans have just added clout to the crypto, but all that will be clear. So you're not familiar with FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. FTX trading platform.
Yeah.
Homie, Polo Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
He's on Forbes. He's giving money to I Love the Governor for her campaign. Right. And he did some dirt.
Right.
Mr. Duquans created a trading platform, stole a bunch of money, the thing crashed.
Right.
Just got caught by Interpol last week.
Right.
So all these people that's creating these platforms are getting busted and it's giving a bad look on crypto.
Right. And that's the hardest part you're gonna get, even with the push in assembly with forward thinking we have. We still got a lot of old assembly members that do not support this. You got a lot of that will use those examples of why they won't support it. You got a lot of much older state senators that 100% don't support it. These are the things that you're gonna constantly be running into. So when you get those people who are doing wrong, they're gonna point to, well, how do we regulate them? How do we make sure that they can't get away with? We don't want to create 16 Bernie Madoffs because then you got a collapse inside of the currency. 1 or 2 is an anomaly. 20 is the downfall. So, it's definitely making sure that's what these, our old heads do want that insurance. They want to make sure that we don't have them Bernie Madoffs. Yeah, and it threatens the U.S. dollar, which they're not willing to let go. And I won't see in my lifetime. I don't think we'll ever see anything. Even when the push came for the euro, which is widely accepted across, we pushed back heavily. Which when the euro beat the U.S. dollar for a transitional period, we still pushed back heavily because we're going to maintain that independence. So they're not willing to let go of that, whether it be for pride or foolishness. But it's not going to change right this second. There has to be a coincidence that happens with it to make it make sense for a lot of the holders.
He said the U.S. dollar should be pegged to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That is a great thing. The U.S. dollar. Do you believe the U.S. dollar should be pegged to Bitcoin?
I think if we can, I think it has the opportunity to do so. I think that we have to. It's going to be a coincidence with the platforms to help to regulate though, because then they're going to want them to regulatory with the banks. And the reason we're creating so many millionaires with Bitcoin right now is because of the uses it has for overseas translation. And then if you start coinciding with U.S. banks, you're going to get into international regulations. You're going to get into different fees, different things that are going to happen, transactional money that's being constantly transferred, because we know that the European U.S. transfer line with Bitcoin is completely different because you can transfer across country lines without any kind of regulatory switch, right? You don't pay, even if I want to go exchange the US dollar right now for euro, I have to pay a fee to the bank just to get a euro. And I keep using the euro as an example because it's primary currency. Same thing with Canadian currency. If I want to go to Canada, if I want to go get me a loonie or a toonie, I got to do the same thing, even if it's less. Or if I want a peso, it's the same concept, right? So that there has to be, they would point to there needs to be a regulatory set with a bank, a major bank, to peg it with the dollar.
Do you believe you need to get rid of these old folks that's in these seats to bring in a younger generation? Like bring in the younger generation, Democrat or Republican, I don't care which you are. Bring in the younger people so they can see the future of currency and direct us to the correct path.
I feel that I'm gonna make a much general statement about it. I think that Democrat or Republican, I think a lot of the older generation needs to step aside, because when you become out of touch with the needs of the people, what's happening, you're unable to understand or unwilling to learn the difference and what needs to be done. You're failing the people as a whole. If you can't look at something from an objective standpoint without a bias to see where it can go and how you can make it effective to, one, not only help the community, bringing new jobs, bringing new currency to re-strengthen an economy that has seen such a turn downfall coming out of a pandemic. There's so much that needs to be done. Then yeah, you need to go. I don't care who you are, and I am a Democrat, and I don't care who you are or how you identify. If you're not fighting for the people, it's time to go. And I did see cryptocurrency, if Bitcoin becomes more valuable. I think we've seen what it looks like when Bitcoin does become more valuable than the average US dollar. But I think that the hardest point that they're going to always push back to is what regulates Bitcoin. And if it's not them, and I mean them as an entirety US government, like we can only get so many young people in at a time because we know how the system works. And then they try to burn every young person out the faster they can, because that old boys club is a son of a bitch, pardon my language. It's definitely something to look at, where we can look at crypto pushing the US dollar and pushing the market back again, and being a primary miner to give us something that we can use for trade, something we can use for simple things, aluminum, wood, timber, anything that we can get in here, precious metals. I've been pushing people towards the basics again. I say gold, silver, and crypto as your new currency, because I do see the U.S. dollar folding and falling below CUMSET at some point.
That's a good. That's a good. Because I heard that. I heard different things that the U.S. will cripple the dollar just to get their cryptocurrency out there. And I was thinking about it. If the U.S. crippled the dollar, wouldn't that show that the power dynamic has shifted? Definitely, it makes us look weak and vulnerable.
It is a constant balance on the federal level that they don't ever want to concede. Yeah, the U.S. debt clock. Yeah, 100%. That's why we keep raising the ceiling now, because we're trying to keep pushing the debt clock back, and we don't. The biggest thing This is oh man, crypto, can you gonna get me? I'm trying to stay focused, man. I'm trying to stay focused on crypto because there's so much I want to hit on. But so the U.S. debt clock is hindered by several things. One, we're going to keep pushing the debt ceiling up, and also we are not looking at what's new. We are not looking at a technological boom. We are mildly dipping into making chips now, microchips and everything here in the States, but we don't even produce half of the metals that we need to do it. As part of that set. So it is definitely I say Uncle Ant's pulling up right now his phone.
Yeah, the U.S.
debt clock, and it is real. But if they the hindrance that they're seeing that they're talking about for the dollar for crypto, go ahead, I'll let you.
Right now.
Real time.
Ooh, so 31 is that trillion?
Yeah.
Over 31 trillion ain't counting.
Yeah. So we and it's not falling anytime. So 31 trillion and counting for those that didn't hear it on the debt clock right now. So when we, the things that's always saved us is war in the U.S., where we're able to produce and do other processes, building tanks, building guns, whatever it may be, we sell it. Those things are now done by machines, so you don't get the same boost and boom that you got. And now we're falling behind in technological advancements, including cryptocurrency, because I'm being practice what I preach, right? That would allow us to not only venture ourselves when you talk about crypto mining and setting a regulatory process, but will allow us to reset where we're going and where we're heading and being one of the major producers and mining of it if we see it as a venture. And we should see it as a venture because it's a successful one.
Yeah, so you mentioned getting the word off everyday folks. I looked at a study. Only 16% of Americans invest into crypto. 16. How many people is in America? Like
couple million when it's all said and done in U.S. Just 16% is not a large.
It's not enough. So how do we get the word out? So how can we tell people most people feel like this is a secret, but it's not. But I can see where they're coming from.
Right.
Say, this is secretive because you got to know someone that knows someone to put you on.
Right. I think huge part is one, educating people on cryptocurrency. I think a lot of people are still still uncomfortable with it. They don't fully know. They don't understand it. And when you don't understand something, you fear it, so you don't ever move towards it. So the lack of knowledge about how cryptocurrency can be used, what can be done, from your everyday person to our politicians and people that are making decisions right now, is part of the reason why you're seeing the slow play of it. And then you have, of course, the pushes that come from the FTXs and the Duquans, that things that happen when they create new platforms. I think there was like Mooncoin, Dogecoin, all these other ones that are sub umbrellas under the major. I think the process that you're going to look at and see on a federal level is that you do have to talk to Bitcoin. You have to sit down with the major platform that is setting the market, and you have to come to terms. That's how you're going to get people to start to better understand on everyday use and educational point. Bitcoin knows better their own product than anybody else will ever know.
But here's the thing about Bitcoin: no one knows who's the creator.
Who's the creator, right? So you have major players that understand, who've made millions off it, that can explain with ease how they understood the process of cryptocurrency, right? We understand that this major platform probably derivative from a government platform itself. And I'll be more general because I don't want to get myself shut down and saying certain things. That we understand that even through major platforming, there's those who have mastered the art of it, right? So just like any other business, you master the art of it. It is look at it as a stock sharehold. And when you can start explaining it to people in that manner, especially the older people, as a stock shareholder, you're really investing in yourself and your ability to create money. They'll understand it a lot better.
All right. Another question: what do you guys think if a natural disaster or a major war, will crypto be more valuable than the fiat currency?
Oh man, yes. So I definitely think for a natural disaster, I think major war. I don't know. I think if we have a major war at this point, we all might be in big trouble across the board. Because they're not, these old boys ain't fighting the same way now. They ain't trying to come off their porch, so they're out here trying to press buttons in the case of a major war. But I do think a natural disaster, cryptocurrency is probably the easiest transition. We know that we have the ability to set up mobile internet spots at any given point to access. I think Red Cross would be able to use it and help themselves as well. So these are definitely things that I think would allow for the mass valuability of cryptocurrency.
Like I said, I think instead of the government saying, "Hey, this is what it is," I believe it's going to take one major corporation and say, "Hey, we accepting crypto
Right.
as another currency."
Right.
And I think that after that, it would be a trickle. It would trickle down.
Right.
So I say, like I said, I don't know which corporation it's going to be.
Right. Blanks closed for whatever reason at any given moment. As you're seeing with the bailout now, we're allowing big banks to purchase smaller banks and then reopen them under the same names. And that's once again where you're going to fall into those regulatory practices where it's like the big banks are allowed to buy these banks or let them close or whatever. But the money is insured. So if your bank is, say, Schenectady used to have, First Niagara, right? If your money was in First Niagara when KeyBank bought First Niagara out and you didn't want to switch to KeyBank, you got your money back. You didn't just lose your money. And that's going to be one of the biggest points of where insurance and regulatory practices of, you're going to get your money back for if we'll say the crypto of Schenectady closes that week and they switch or they sell out to, Pennsylvania crypto. I'm just using random stuff to random names. Those don't exist. But that's what they're going to look at from a legislative standpoint is how can we ensure that people's money is still safe if something happens to one of these trading stations.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Chairs here?
Man, Crypto King, I appreciate your interaction, brother. That's
definitely.
Or sister, I don't know because it's a real thing, but I appreciate your interaction here. This has been great. And you can always message me on my page as well, Chairs for Assembly on Facebook or Instagram if you got questions. More than just crypto, I answer questions on legislation regularly here. Like I said, we're running again in 2024. If you come down to Story Coffee in Scotia, you're going to catch me with my guy Rich anytime, getting myself a breakfast sandwich and a coffee. I'm going to get one afterward. Come support local, so definitely.
That's what I'm working on, Crypto King. That's what I'm working on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's it, man. It's guests. I got some other guests lined up this week. I got a special announcement for you guys on Friday. Like I said, there's more guests is getting out there. And shout out to Storage for let us
use their space.
Exactly, sit here.
Yeah.
And everything.
You're always taking care of me, so come take care of them. Make sure you get out here, come and join. They've been here in Scotia 4 years running strong. They're not moving. They survived everything. Great people, good vibes, good coffee and food. So everything is homemade, made in-house.
Definitely. Like I said, we got our current financial, not current, but he comes on the show all the time. Our financial advisor, Craig Gustav. Like I said, I'm trying to get more people coming.
Absolutely.
Definitely we do.
Yes, absolutely.
And definitely to our people. And we trying to, not even trying, I hate the word trying. It's getting in front of the people and saying, hey, this is crypto. Like, we went to school back in the days. They'll tell us, hey, this is what a bank account was.
Right.
We need to do the same interaction. Like, hey, this is what crypto is.
Right.
Once you break down the crypto.
Okay. Listen, I got some things happening, so I'm with it. I like that.
Let's sit down. Let's talk, man.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely talk about that.
Absolutely. We got some coming to Schenectady soon. So that's something that we should talk quickly. And I got some council member friends that we should also get that in front of, so we can get that regulatory. So yeah.
Everyone, this is the Crypto Fix. I'm your man Ant.
Justin Chairs. I appreciate y'all.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the content, help a brother out. Like I said, without you guys, I'm not able to travel.
That's right.
So I want to travel. I want to go to Orlando. I may want to go to Europe. I want to talk to different people about crypto. Let's get the word out there. This is the only way we can spread the word to everyday people.
Absolutely.
See you guys Friday.
Thank you for having me on, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.